What we're going to look at now are what are known as transit bearings. Transit bearings are obtained when two fixed objects are observed in line or in transit with each other. Okay, so let's have a look at an example on the chart here. I can see it clearly on the chart. You won't be able to perhaps see it as clear as me, but we have a very conspicuous radio mast with red lights, and we have Berry Head. So if we were on our vessel out here, we could line up the radio mast and Berry Head, and we could observe our compass bearing off the vessel of these two objects, conspicuous objects, in line. We can then look at the bearing, the true bearing of our compass rose on the chart, and from that we can see that the true bearing of the two in line is 300 degrees true. So whatever bearing you obtain on the vessel from your compass, you can compare to this bearing, and that will give you your compass or gyro error. So you can see straight away, obtaining transit bearings, that's a very useful way of checking the compass or gyro error on your vessel. There are transit bearings specifically drawn on charts of a couple of objects in line with the true bearing written on. You can take the bearing with your compass rose again to check your compass error. So it's a very useful way to check if you have a compass or gyro error, and it's known as a transit bearing. So what other uses are there for a transit bearing? Well, you can use it as a bearing line for a fix. So if you then take a distance off an object or another bearing, cross that transit bearing line, and there you are, you've got a fix. You can use it to have as a transferred position line. So you know that you're somewhere along this line, you simply run your course along there to get to use it as a transferred position line. If the vessel was at anchor, you could use it to check whether you were dragging anchor. If the lights were lined up as an entrance to the port, you could actually use them as leading lights to steam along that course to ensure that you arrived in the port safely. And the other thing to consider is the ease of identification for transit bearings. Well, obviously they must be conspicuous. So it's no good choosing elements on the chart that are fairly inconspicuous. They have to be very conspicuous, clearly identifiable as well. You have to ensure that there aren't other objects in the vicinity very close by that are very similar that you could perhaps get confused over. So they have to be clearly conspicuous, and conspicuous in their own right for everything else around on the chart. There has to be a reasonable vertical or horizontal separation for them for you to get the transit bearing. Obviously as well, they must be fixed objects. It's no good you taking bearing of something that might well move. It has to be a permanent fixed object that you need to use lined up with another permanent fixed object to get a transit bearing. So as you can see, there's several good uses for transit bearings. Very useful one, obviously, as I mentioned initially, being the ability to obtain your compass error and gyro error. So that's how we would use transit bearings.